Conclude this coverage today.
Hello.
Jane,
Hello.
how are you?
Hello, Your Excellency, whatever.
Well, Ibrahim, it's been an important part of history today. I've just had my high tea, and as she had promised earlier, the High Commissioner, Jane Marriott, had said we would have an astounding English day today, and this was an amazing moment and a good piece of history that we have experienced this particular day. I'm joined by her, but as well as another gentleman, and your name is Terry Charles, and I'm seeing at the end of your name there's an MBE. What does that mean?
I'm not quite sure, really.
You don't know what that is?
Yes, it's a member of the Order of the British Empire, I think.
What does that mean?
It means that some people think you've done something special and have decided to reward you for it, or honour you for it, one of the two.
And I think that was definitely the case. That was definitely the case with Terry last year for getting the MB for all the work you've done with Bravent schools and beyond. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Looking at the day and how it has gone, and he came in a red robe, he now lives in a purple robe, the actual standard of royalty. What stood out for you in this particular day where we saw a whole lot of British traditions going through the processes?
I think it was I can't even begin to unpack the symbolism. Every single thing you saw had a meaning, had a tradition, had some sort of link. Even the spoon that they used to put the oil on the king to anoint him dates from 1347. It's just utterly phenomenal. All of the history. So I think for me, it just reminded me, and I'm going to brag now because I'm the British High Commissioner, and this is a brilliant ceremony for the whole of the United Kingdom and the world. But I think we do this stuff really well, and I think today was a really good example of how we do the history, the continuity, but also that little bit of modernity that was creeping in. Not too much, but just a little.
Terry, where were you in 1953 when the then Queen was being coronated?
So you obviously presume I'm that old.
It's just a question, like I would ask the High Commissioner.
Yes, well, I was born in 1948, so I was 5 years old at the time. 4 years old when the Queen acceded to the throne, but when the coronation, I don't remember anything. And of course, don't forget, in those days, the communications were nothing like what they were today, and I don't think we had a television or anything like that, although it was televised, I understand. But I must admit that King Charles is my age mate.
He's 74 like you?
74 like me, and he's actually 2 years younger than me. And so therefore we've sort of gone through life together in a way, and I've always had a very soft spot for him, especially for his championship of the environment and things like that. So for me it was quite an emotional day in that sense, to see someone who's lived through virtually exactly the same time period, to see him do what he's been destined for the whole of his life. I must admit, I don't envy him. I really don't. But like his mother, duty seems to be his key word as well.
Yeah, the best is yet to come for King Charles. I think now he's on the throne. But we were talking earlier about that coronation in 1953 being one of the first major televised international events, and I was saying that both my parents, who were about 10 at the time, watched it in their neighbours' houses, and one of them already had a TV and the other one bought a television for the occasion.
Just for that coronation.
Yeah. And I think so many people did.
And this particular one, most of the younger generation will be watching it either on TikTok or in Instagram. How different is that as compared to when his mother before him was being taken through the coronation?
Well, it's a much longer coronation. I think sort of closer to sort of 4 or 5 hours in total back in 1953. I think our attention spans have got shorter. I think 2 hours.
Princess Louis, particularly today, seemed quite.
He did disappear at one point. I think he probably nipped off to the toilet or something. But,
I did wonder.
The poor little guy is like 4 or something, isn't he? Right.
He kept on nudging his mother and telling her, "Mum, probably something. Why is all this fuss today?"
Which is just a reminder as well that the royals are as human as the rest of us. A 4-year-old kid is going to get fidgety if they're sat in one place for too long. But I think they did very well. The young kids and the 4 page boys that you got, including Prince George, third in line to the throne, was really good.
You talk about remembering this kinship, him being in the same age as yourself, Terry. He comes in at quite an advanced age. And what does this mean for him and his leadership for the New Britain?
Difficult question. Yes, so that means I'm at an advanced age as well. Well, I think he's got a role to play, and I think that's sort of with the world changing. I think he has a gentle approach to change. After I don't think he's wanting to be a revolutionary. I think he wants to understand the past and also have a fair idea of what's happening in the future, and to try and prepare his role and the role of his children to carry on. Because you know, as Jane said, in terms of days like today, nobody does it better. Nobody. And you know, it would be a tragedy if Britain lost that. And that means that, you know, we know that King Charles doesn't have very much to do with the governance of the country, but he has influence, and that influence resonates with the people of the country, and so therefore he has a role to play, and I think he's quite capable of doing it. I'm not sure about his views on architecture, but we can leave that aside for the time being.
He has some strong views on architecture. He once called the buildings on the south bank of the Thames carbuncles. He was so unimpressed with modern 1970s British architecture.
Why? I think every generation and every culture has something in a bit of history to retain, and if you look at Kenya particularly, so many more of those colonial buildings still stand, and we put them up as a big piece of history. And I'm looking at the road just going into the Buckingham Palace. The people are now being allowed to just go closer and see the spectacle that is expected next. The family will come out to the balcony, and then the military, of course, then now will come up with the
6-minute flyover. I mean, that's a lot of aeroplanes. I don't know if it's